Hey guys, Hermeet here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about the X-T3, in particularly with the new firmware that's been released for this camera. The firmware adds a lot more improvements in autofocus speed. It's down from 0.06 second to 0.02, which is amazing. That matches the X-T4 in terms of the focusing speed. So Fujifilm are doing a great job in adding features to an older camera when they have a newer camera still with the same capability. And that's why I love Fujifilm for those added features and improvements that they keep doing to older cameras as well, not just, improving things in the newer models. So first thing we're going to do is download the firmware from the website. Once we've downloaded the firmware, we're going to download that and copy that across onto the SD card. You want to just put it on the main root directory of the SD card. Insert the SD card into the camera, and then we should do some tests before and after. So the first test is obviously the low light capability. They claim to have increased it to -7 EV, which is pretty much in dark. The camera should be able to focus, and there should be no more hunting. Should focus, lock onto the subject much faster. So to test that, I've got a setup in my lounge room over here, where I just have one lamp, which I'm going to be using to light up the room. It is very low and dark. Just to show you the scene, I'm going to show you the scene with this light on. However, without the main light on, obviously the room is much darker. The first test is going to test the autofocus speed. So as you will see, the focusing is quick. It still finds the subject, but it does take a while in low light situations. So supposedly that's improved with the new firmware. Alright, so we'll repeat this test again after we've upgraded the firmware. The other test I want to do is the test which is essentially tracking in video mode the subject again in low light situation, and you can see that at times it is losing me in low light situations, not able to know where I am and keep up with my movement as I move across the screen. So again, we will test this obviously in low light situation after we've upgraded the firmware. When you test this same thing in good lighting, well lit scene, you can see obviously it's able to track, and usually most of the times you will be shooting in good lighting situations where it's able to see you and track you. But obviously in lower light situations, the improvements should help with the autofocus. So let's do the firmware upgrade now. In order to do that, hold the back button while powering on the camera. The camera will realize that there is new firmware on the SD card. It will prompt you to do the firmware. Just make sure that you have a fully charged battery, because it can take a few minutes and you really don't want your camera running out of juice when it's doing a firmware upgrade. So once we get started, you will see it'll take a few minutes to upgrade the firmware. I'll speed this up for the purpose of the video. And once the firmware is done, we just get to turn off the camera, turn it back on, and the firmware should be all updated. So let's do the very first test, which was the autofocusing speed. And you can notice it's audible. I'm shooting at 24 frames per second, so I cannot measure using frame rate how long it takes, but you can hear audibly that the focusing is much faster. Let me play that back again first with the original focusing speed. And now this is the post version 4 firmware upgrade. You can see that it's already making a huge improvement. So now let's go back to our second test and test the tracking capabilities, the face recognition and eye tracking, again in low light situation. Here you can see now the camera is consistently able to track me in low light situation much better than before. If you compare to the previous clip and with the current tracking, you can see the camera is much more improved in its ability to track me in low light situation. So there you go guys, just a quick test to show you how great it is to upgrade the firmware of the X-T3 X-T3 to version 4.0 and get some of the capabilities from its successor, essentially, the X-T4. Thank you, Fujifilm, for doing that, and we really love you for that you keep improving even your older cameras even after you release newer models. Much appreciated. Thanks very much for watching this video, guys. I hope you found this useful. If you got any questions, leave them down in the comments below, and if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. Thanks again for watching this video, guys. Bye bye.